Hi there. I wanted to talk tonight about teaching in a multicultural early childhood classroom. When it comes to teaching a classroom of diverse learners, educators should think about three things. For one, and most important, family connection. Second, classroom environment. And third, authentic literacy experiences. Family connection. Why is it important? Parent involvement in their preschool child's education positively affects their school readiness and cognitive development. Stronger parent teacher relationships have resulted in lower problem behaviors at school. That said, we need strategies to involve all parents from diverse backgrounds so that all students get the benefit of having their family involved. One idea I have is a family day. This would be where you invite your families to spend time in your classroom. Provide the invitation to the classroom in their native language so they understand what activity you're doing, and provide a variety of time slots to accommodate variety of schedules. So maybe there's a morning slot, an afternoon slot, and even an after school like evening slot. And then you can use that time to allow families to play and explore your classroom together. Teachers can build relationships with their parents, not only to encourage inclusive decision making, but also to equitably provide family resources and support. Another way of engaging all families is by doing a unit on family stories and inviting families to contribute stories to your classroom. They could submit these stories orally or written, and the story can be written in both their native language and translated into English. They would hear these stories by interviewing their parents and grandparents and hearing about their experiences, and then being able to put those into the classroom. Older students could be part of the writing and creating process, where your younger students might need teachers, or I love this idea, having older students come down and help the younger children to write their stories. This activity would strengthen language skills, increase communication between parents and teachers, and overall build an inclusive school community. The second pillar I wanted to talk about was creating a welcoming classroom environment. Why is it important? We want all of our students to feel safe and welcome, so it is important to include everyone in your classroom environment. One idea is having bilingual classroom labels. So if you have students with multiple languages, like for example, in my room, I have students who are English speaking and I have students who are Spanish speaking. So having bilingual classroom labels that label the items in the room, both English and Spanish, are beneficial. Um, Labels in general provide students with that print rich environment and help our students understand that each object has a word and that print conveys meaning. Our bilingual children need opportunities to experience writing in both languages. If you have older students, you might have them help create the labels, which would also help your students have a sense of belonging and empower them to write. So, the examples I have here, I have some of the objects you would see around the room, like clock, scissors, calculator. And I've noticed that when I have those labels, then myself and my para might both try to use those words with our Spanish speaking students too. Another example over here is our feelings poster. We have that in both English and Spanish so that we can try to talk to the students about how they're feeling in their native language. Another really important thing is to have a multicultural classroom library. Um, as we know from early childhood education, picture books are extremely powerful. They can be used to teach empathy, problem solving, and understanding of the world. Multicultural literature is powerful because it shows various perspectives and it can highlight not only how we are similar, but also how cultures may view ideas or issues differently. When we say a diverse book, we mean that books should portray diversity in regards to race, class, and disability. One way to find these books is to look for awards like the Coretta Scott King Award, the Pura Belpré Award, the American Indian Youth Literature Award, and the Asian and Pacific American Award for Literature. So those would be good books lists to check out to see how you can build your classroom library. And then finally, having authentic literacy experiences. Why is it important? While it's vital to have that multicultural in your classroom, just having it there and not engaging in it isn't really that helpful. So it's more important, it's even more important to engage in the literature with your students. So the first one I want to talk about was wordless picture books, which you don't really think about when you think about multicultural education, but family engagement is super important in fostering literacy development. And so, as early childhood educators, we should be providing families with books to share with their children. And many schools, such as mine, have limited non English books, especially if you have multiple languages in your school. You might not have a book in every language. So, another way to foster literacy at home for your families is sending home wordless picture books. They can still understand the story by looking at the pictures. They can still talk with their family about the story elements, such as character, the problem, the solution. They get to be part of the storytelling. They get to make inferences, which is a higher order thinking. They can have meaningful conversations with their parents. And it just promotes that reading is fun and helps create a positive relationship with books. Another type of literacy to have in your room is multicultural fairy tales. So we know that fairy tales are a great form of storytelling. They're engaging, they're fun, they promote active listening and language development, and oftentimes involve critical thinking and problem solving as the characters are trying to solve the way out of their problem. Fairy tales often have morals and lend themselves to social emotional lessons. So you can take fairy tales to the next step by incorporating multicultural fairy tales, where they tell the story from a different perspective, a different culture, maybe a different country. So that can help them gain appreciation from other cultures, promote acceptance of other cultures. And again, when they pair it with a traditional fairy tale, you could talk about the similarities as well as the differences. So I have some examples here of different fairy tales. Maria had a little llama. That's like Mary had a little lamb. Little Red and the Very Hungry Lion. That's Little Red Riding Hood. And the Three Little Javelinas is a spin off the traditional The Three Little Pigs. So just there's a ton of them out there. Go check them out. They're super fun, very engaging. So these are just some ideas of how to create a inclusive classroom environment for your multicultural and diverse learners. Um, I think the biggest thing to take away is that we as educators can make an impact. These changes you can make within your classroom, and they have a powerful impact on making sure that all of our students feel safe and welcome in our classroom. These are my references, all great articles to check out. And thank you so much.